In Utah, when I was a boy, everybody knew what a downwinder was. We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist, and it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Twingate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Twingate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving. We were promised, oh, this can't happen. It will never happen. We cannot have a meltdown.
Good morning. Hope everybody's out of their dogma snuggies. We've got a lot to talk about. We finally got one of those real northern Utah winter storms. The sun's out. It's spectacular. It's like a postcard out here. First one in over 2 years. Really grand. It's cleared. It's one of those perfect Utah heavy snow, sunshine. I mean, it's beyond a postcard. It's so spectacular and so beautiful. We have a lot to talk about for the... Look, if you don't think the United States has reached a capitulation into an immoral, evil, and I'm not talking a sexual connotation, I'm not talking... I mean, an unconscious, sick bunch of evil fuckers. You are out of it. America is so sickening, disgusting right now with the slave complex. There's a new AP report coming out. In Indonesia, as I've been ranting and raving and screaming and carrying on for how long, that slavery is totally legal in Indonesia. 100% legal. China's having a war with it because the companies that moved from here took the $50 an hour jobs. Oh, that's too much money. No, it's not. It's not even enough money. In the United States, they move those jobs to China for 37 cents an hour, and these corporations are bitching, calling it wage inflation because they're moving to Indonesia because slavery is legal there, 100% legal. So the reports that I've been bitching things, so you guys, everybody goes to the supermarket and buys their shrimp. That's the big thing. You're shrimping the little things because America's too lazy to fill their own shrimp. You go to the buffet in Vegas, you go wherever. It's finally being reported. A finally investigative journalist from AP went down there and documented it. These are slaves, full 100 blown-out slaves, bought and sold slaves. They're treated worse than Annabelle Self, ate by millions of times. Oh, the Ayn Randers. I mean, this whole Ayn Rand was a science fiction writer from Russia. The economic thesis has been shoved down your throat by the House of Windsor. Everything this country stood for. So they wrote the report on how it works. They buy these slaves. They documented a couple. They put them in this little concrete bunker, not even really a house. They get them up whenever they need. It's just like Apple. They live in the bunker at Apple. In the concrete bunker, they go there, and then when the run, whatever the orders come in, whatever Apple says. Tim Cook should be so disgustedly ashamed of himself. I'm going to get into Steve Chinese Jobs and how evil that person was. Steve Jobs was an evil, evil person. And I'm going to talk about that a lot in this show today. I'm going to talk about how sick and evil America is. The United States has no one to blame but themselves. Now, look, there's plenty of good people out there, but we've been overrun by fear and greed. George Carlin, selfish, ignorant people will elect selfish, ignorant leaders. America's so grotesquely selfish to their own demise. Fukushima just hammering. I'm going to get into this. We finally got an oncologist, and why this is such a big search. A beautiful female oncologist at the UCLA Cancer Center, which is one of the major cancer centers of the world. And I'm going to dive into why this is so big and why it happened at UCLA that it's so big. Now, you know I was in East 8. Now, leukemia units are at the top of hospitals. They're always at the top. Why? Radiation rises. Chemo's one toxic brew that they brew up. I mean, what goes on in those rooms? Whoa. I mean, it's so intense. You want to talk lawyers, the doctors, the nurses. Wow. I mean, the CNAs. I mean, you want to talk freaking, these firemen are heroes. These cops are heroes. These baby bombers that get victimized that go into the military. They're not heroes. They're victims. No, the real heroes are nurses and oncologist nurses and CNAs. Oh, they're the fucking heroes, I'm here to tell you. So there's a famous book out. It was written by one of the greatest nuclear propagandists in the world. It was so effective, and it's called West 10. It's a heartbreaking book. West 10 is the leukemia unit at UCLA. And the book will rip your soul out. It's so on the money as far as what goes on inside those units. Look, I was in one for 1,280 days. I mean, everybody in there died. I mean, I'm the last one standing of our group. I mean, it's the most heartbreaking place in the world. It's the most reality place. I invite people in. Come on. They won't go because it's American. Out of sight, out of mind. The real treatment, we're going to homogenize what cancer really is. Come, I'll show you what it really is. Out of sight, slavery in Indonesia and China, buying our freaking kids for our goods for Christmas for our kids when you're split. Out of sight, out of mind. So brutal and hardcore. So we have an oncologist who broke ranks. The first one in the post-Fukushima thesis. On day, day 1740 or 41, I believe she broke ranks. Or 38, right there. She puts it out. Now, of course, nuclear broadcasting, cancer, CNN, credibility not needed, fear complex, which the NSA, Snowden has confirmed to me via his attorney, is 100% paying. CNN is totally 100% run by the CIA at the very top and the NSA. Snowden said it. Look, the CIA and the NSA, Snowden, when I was in Park City up there at the event, which I told them, let me video it, and put it on my YouTube site. It'd be legal for me to do it if you give me permission. Nope, Kevin can't do it. It's our copyrighted material. Okay, Channel 7 is going to re-air the entire interview. I said, you want to bet? The only reason she was so naive, I'm like, how did you get this to come here? Oh, it was real easy, just through TED Talk. Now, TED Talks are 100% CIA. That's all CIA bullshit, TED Talk. Now, why did Snowden agree to do that? Because he knew it had a big platform. Snowden's a smart dude. Is he sequestered and he's done? Yeah, he's done. The second they surrounded the plane in Vienna, he's done. It's over. He did all his dump. Greenwald's a scam. And he alluded to the scam of Greenwald, the scam of the media. He says, look, it's the media's job. I dumped the stuff out. I did my place. It's their job. Well, Greenwald, Greenwald's lied the entire time. He's a fucking liar. Okay, he says, we have this option. He's going to be our guy. Vanity Fair, they're going to be our guy. We're going to do this. I've talked to Vanity Fair's people. I mean, the New Yorker. These people, they come up to me, in New York. I've had conversations with them. You know what the lead writer for the Columbian Review in the New Yorker told me to my face in JFK on a wintry day last year? Right to my face. Kevin, I can't have the conversation about your cancer. I can't go there. It's too hard for me. He told me that. I will put a lie detector on me on all this. These fucking rats. Greenwald said, I have nuclear options. I'm going to dump this. He didn't dump shit. And he did his one dump, and then they went to him and says, look, same old. Okay, you got a hook. You got a hook through Snowden. Snowden did all the dirty work. Now you're going to profit his dirty work. And that's what he does. He travels around the country, speaking engagements at the universities, gets money right here at the University of Utah. He did it. He wouldn't even look me in the eye. I was right there in his face. Oh, I told him off, right to his face. He's a fraud. Now he's out making money. He hasn't dumped anything. Nothing. He put out that early dump, and Snowden's very disappointed. You can see it in his face. They surrounded Greenwald's boyfriend at the airport in London. That was it. Over. Scared him. Boo, motherfucker. Because America's home of the cowards. These guys ain't standing up. There ain't none of them going to stand up because the entire country's cowards. What do you think the gun's not going to protect you from anything? Zero. Even in a terrorism situation, even in a gun situation, whatever, it's not going to protect you. It's going to make it worse. It's going to escalate it. It's going to call the SWAT team on. You got a gun. They don't even know if you're on their team, whose team, whatever. They're just going to kill you. America's cowards, and they fall. That simply, they're a bunch of immature little babies, baby bombers who never grew up. And I'm talking in the aggregate, and everybody doesn't know that I'm talking in the aggregate. I think I'm speaking to them in an individual basis. They're way too immature to even be listening to my radio show or listen to anything I do or anything I say. Extremely way too immature. It's a pathetic commentary. Pathetic commentary. So she breaks ranks at East 8. Excuse me, that's where I was at. East 8's wonderful. By the way, I'm going to tell you a little secret right here. I've never said this to anybody. When I went in there, you know, I have some connections inside there through my last name. My last name saved my life. The famous heart surgeon Thomas, who invented a lot of the bypass station, which he fucking hated me. I mean, he really hated me. And it goes back into our two polygamous. You know, we had polygamous grandparents. You know, that creep, he was a creep. His last name was Blanch. He got them 2 Danish girls with children. I've read her journals. He took advantage of that situation. Both of them told him to fuck off, by the way. Our real last name would be Mickelson. The Danish. It falls clear back into that. So, you know, the 2 families have fought for fucking generations, which is obscene. It's so fucking ridiculous and stupid how these things can carry on, which is very typical in the Utah Peace, which is not that old. You don't like me. I look just like, and then Marston, the famous neurosurgeon, I look just like him. I sound just like him. They're famous. They're infamous. They were incredible. Some of the greatest doctors in human history. You know, my dad, everybody loved my dad. Everybody. I mean, the guy was amazing. He fucking, women went fucking gaga over the guy. He was one of those guys, I mean, he looked like Elvis. He was just wit, charming, smiled, that would melt you. I mean, perfect teeth, perfect eye. I mean, my mom, the pinup artist. I mean, curved up, amazing woman. I mean, what a pair. Everybody knew him. Everybody knows my family, my uncles here. My last name. Because they were men. I mean, really fucking men. Real men. They fucking stood up. My dad stood up. My dad was the greatest anti-nuclear activist ever. He was the greatest actor. He stood up to these fuckers. He was fearless. So are my uncles. Fearless men. These doctors knew. So I'm inside the bone marrow. I get in. Because, you know, my last name, they believe in me. Dr. Vincent Hampton put a lot of work, and he overrode all the malpractice quack motherfuckers who were going to kill me. I'm in there. Fimbo comes in. He's the lead oncologist from Denmark. He plops down this Tribune to me one night. He knows. I mean, they do their homework. They don't just take anybody in there. They want success stories, which they're heartbroken on Marshall. They're heartbroken on Nancy. They're heartbroken on everything. Stronger, more aggressive. Pops down the trip. Look at this, Cav. I know you're battling freaking Castle. They're going to be over at the Capitol tomorrow secretly. She's broke it, Judy from the Tribune. You need to go over. I mean, I'm in so critical condition. They ain't going to let you out. I'll have a couple nurses take you. You go. You do what you got to do, Kev. Shriveled up to nothing. Oh, I'm in there going at those motherfuckers. You know, they hate me. They fear me. Blue Castle Nuclear, those fuckers, they're so afraid of me. Because I know, they know I burn a fucking hole. I go right in their face. You've seen it on YouTube. I video them right in their face in the Utah State Capitol. And they're afraid of me. because they know I know the truth, and they know they're fucking weasel. It's not easy being sleazy, and they're sleazy, and they know it. The old nuclear cartel, Americans are sleazy people. They're really sleazy people. It's disgusting what they've evolved into as a people. So it's called West 10. West 10 is one of the cutting-edge AML leukemia wars of the world. This is before Fred Davis and the University of Washington invented really the Hickman line. It came out. My doctor came from there. Finbo came from there. The Hickman line was invented by a non-ologist because that's what ties around your jug or whatever. It's the biggest breakthrough in cancer treatment in 50 years. You know, that was all, Fred Davis, the bone marrow transplant, University of Washington, which is evolved into Anderson, MD, in Texas. These are amazing units. These guys are cutting edge. So this is before then. So he comes out. All of a sudden, the head of West 10 starts making statements all over and starts a propaganda that nuclear fallout does not cause leukemia. Everybody's like, what? So it took a while, but then it got exposed. Who is this guy? This guy started he's one of the quintessential nuclear PR firms, cutting edge. Now, Woody Allen, that pedophile, creepy fucking rat in Manhattan, this guy grew up with Woody. He got another guy who was published. They all moved to L.A. during the club, okay? They grew up in Manhattan all together, same connected family, same freaking creeps. They started the quintessential PR firm. The logo that you'll see it all over, they used to use it constantly, was a green pretty reactor with green pretty butterflies. They drew that. That's their baby. That's the original nuclear PR firm was set up there. So that's why this is big. UCLA has been under attack by anti-nuclear activists in a very big way. They enter a big, big way. So they're going at him. This is a big deal. We as anti-nuclear were like, what are you doing, you rat? And when all the other oligarchs, so what happened through the insurance industry, these PR firms in the nuclear industry just $4 billion got lobbyists. They got PR machines, and they got through the insurance companies that oncologists can't talk. Now, it used to be, of course, you can't talk about an individual's patient. That's why there's some people out there, and I know who they are, that committed some incredible fraud against me. I want people to very much know I'm an AML leukemia de novo fighter, and everybody knows that. To go into that background, go into that hospital to try to find is a felony. I'm protected. I am heavily protected. Anybody to steal my Social Security number, steal my emails, hack into my accounts, do freaking, they cloned my accounts. They cloned everything and go after me. Those are hardcore felonies. They did it. We know it. The hospital's verified to me. It's against the law for doctors to even talk about it. They're felonies. A doctor cannot speak about your case. It's a felony. They know that. But what they got through the insurance company, they can't speak about in the aggregate of the unit. So they know it's harder, more aggressive. They can't talk. It's against the law because this is the lobby that got this fucking put in. So they can do studies and they can present their studies, which is totally 100% legal. They got to go against the machine. She did it. What she did is totally legal, total moral, total amazing. She's been documenting thyroid cancer in California. Now, you know me. I've been doing videos about thyroid cancer epidemic breaking out in California. I did one as recently as October 9th because I have a lot of activists that I'm involved with across California that I've developed through the power of this genre. So they've been coming to me, Kevin. These are very credible sources, independent sources. Hey, I developed thyroid cancer. I'm meeting with different people, and these are people that I know because I've done activism. I know they're the smart of the smart. I know they're the freaking straight up 100%. They're not the mentally ill in their basements spinning freaking fear porn freaking lunatics, which I've had to weed through that freaking quagmire, and it's not been easy. I'm like, oh my God, it's our worst fears because we know after an event, we know because of Utah, the Utah smiley face. We know because of Chernobyl, the Chernobyl. We know the 3 to 5 year gestation period, whatever, was going to appear in thyroid cancer. But here's what makes this even worse. So it happens. It's our worst fucking fears. Now it's been verified by her. She says California's thyroid cancer rate is dramatically higher than the rest of the countries, our worst fears. We know. And so she says there's no, we've gone into socioeconomic status because there's very clear data on socioeconomic status in different kinds of cancers and why. Diet, all kinds of different things. They've dove into all that. She's dove into it. She dove into the socioeconomic status, the different gender, race, different things. No outliner. None. So she says, well, we're going to have to explore what we're not, the taboo subject, environmental issues. She uses the word radiation, the R word, which we know to stand up against the machine. The nuclear cartel is the machine, the multi-trillion dollar freaking machine. The most money in the world, it dwarfs bankers by many, many, many times. The subsidy, $169 billion this year alone. They have all the money. She says it. Then she goes on to say that the thyroid epidemic in California, she doesn't use the word epidemic, the thyroid increased rate is more aggressive, it's stronger. We're finding out that a big percentage of these thyroid victims are coming in, and it's metastasized and moved so aggressively, so fast already to the lymph nodes, which usually takes a long time. It's happening too quickly, very quickly. It's, again, my thesis. Gamma rays, this is not your father's radiation. This is gamma rays from a nuclear fission event that's never happened in the history of mankind at Fukushima. And it's 4 full-blown out meltdowns. It's really 6, which I've reported 6 over and over and over. It's, oh, you're crazy. Yeah, I'm real crazy. There it is. Now, of course, they're going to move in on her new study. She's starting her second study. They're going to try to sequester the data and the information, of course, but it doesn't matter now. Because what it does, she broke ranks. It's like we say we rub sticks, we rub sticks. We just keep rubbing sticks. That's all we do. We rub sticks, and we're rubbing sticks for years until we catch a spark. And then the grass fire grows, and it grows fast. That's what I do. What's name says, you're nothing but Jenny Appleside. Noam Chomsky says, Kevin, don't you dare give up. He says, it took 40 years before anybody knew my name. He says, oh, your activism is powerful. What you do is important, very important. You have to keep going. People will be talking about years from now where they met you and where they saw you. Freedom Eisenblock told me the same thing. Yeah, this is about our lives. This is about humanitarian issues. This is the ultimate human rights issue. The ultimate. People can't see what I've been able to do on my YouTube site. Is it performance art? Of course. But it's in reality the performance art. In the reality of freaking Picasso, whatever. I've had to hold audience. Look, I've had no money. I got leukemia. My bill was $100.8 million. Put me on Medicaid. Destroyed me financially. Wiped me completely out. That's what it does to everyone. Talk to anybody that's come out of religion. They're done. It changes everything. The field is completely flipped on you. This fight goes on for years. This is no just, oh, they're going to beat it back, you're going to get lucky. Oh, no. No, Tony Gwynn, when he made that statement, he's a Scripps. He was born the same day as I. He was an amazing man. Start declaring they're cured, start declaring it's gone, because what they do is they beat it back, the CAT scan will show it's gone, but it comes back. I know that. I haven't finished the race. And people that survive, they know that. They're like, oh, fuck you. This cancer ain't killing me. I got a job to do. I got things to do. Fuck cancer. Move on. Cancer. But they continue to know that it's there, and they continue to battle in an articulate way. I've known that. It flips the field. You're done. Your whole life's rocked forever. Financially, socially, economically, your relationships are all blown up to hell. Your money's gone done. Because you have to go on Medicaid. So the situation with me, right on YouTube, I turned $3,000 into $700,000. Shorting silver. I tripled that. Shorting gold. Contrary. I'd done it. Well, I had 4,400 shares of Tesla that I'd bought at $12. Now, I had to sell it at a ridiculously low price to get in. I mean, how much would that be worth a day? Yeah, plenty of millionaires I made on YouTube. Of course, they're not going to support me. Fuck me. Because that's the arrogance of the American. Don't care who plants the seed. They don't care what does it. They don't care who does the dirty work. They just want to reap the benefits of everybody's dirty work. They want to reap the benefits of their parents, a 0% interest rate, free money, run the debt up to everything, and just not only did they blow all the equity built up by their parents and grandparents, incredible hard work. They blew that. They're going to freaking rob their children's future, which they've already done that. And they're going to self-fulfill prophecy, and they're going to take the earth with them. It's called generational arrogance. And this is the most generational arrogant group of humans who ever walked the face of the earth. Bar none. They're called baby bombers. And echo bombers are worse. They're ignorant. They're poorly educated. They're self-indulged. They're incredibly drunk on arrogance and proud of it. They don't even understand they've been boiled like the frogs. It's going to lead me to the Billion People March. I want to talk about that. So I don't even know about this Billion People March. There's a novel idea. I wonder where they got the idea. John Anthony and myself, Steve Grant and the boys, our group, Million Mass March, Billion People March, which, by the way, I own a lot of those buildings. Who are these people? Now, let's remember, I'm in Washington Square in 2010. I'm the guy trying to create the post-ignorance movement, the social injustice movement that erupted into what we called Occupy. Let's talk about the inception. I'm in NYU. I'm Washington Square that whole winter. I'm standing there with my post-ignorance sign. I'm talking. We've got people online. We're communicating. We're going, dynamic, amazing people. We're trying to build up a freaking big movement to counter that. We knew that the teabagger movement had been totally Koch brother paid co-op. We knew that was what we call AstroTurf. We all knew it. We wanted a grassrooter. We wanted no money. We wanted no nothing. We're just going to do it. And so they're saying, well, we're going to go down to Wall Street. I'm like, there's nobody down there. That's a stupid move. There's nobody. Wall Street is not in Lower Manhattan anymore. New York Stock Exchange is a cliche freaking, go down there. It's a cultural theme park. You go there, take a tour. They changed it. It's all electronic. It's all computers. They gutted that. They gutted all of it. They're not there. So, I argued with them. No, it needs to happen in D.C. is where I believe it needs to happen, or happen in Midtown. We need to set up a Rockefeller Plaza. We need to set up at Fox News headquarters, because all the media is right there. They're all right there within 2 blocks of each other. The dead clock's right, the old original dead clock before they moved it. Yeah, but it's been moved over, but it's right there. All of it's right there. That's where we need to be. They're the ones betraying us. They're the ones that have been co-opted by the NSA and the CIA, have completely taken them over. They write their articles for them in place, and then they just give people money. They give you the carrot or the stick. Look at Pussy Riot. Well, they got to them real quick, didn't they? It's amazing how they for sale. America, everyone's for sale. Right to their own can. Your loved one will die, and they'll murder your loved one, and they'll say, we'll take a check. Oh, they'll take a check. Not me. It's amazing how you replace, and that you're worthless freaking money. So I'm like, no, let's do it. And we were going to call it post-ignorance. And, the original group that was backing a little was Adbusters. They were grassroots. I know. So they're all online. I come home. I'm here in Utah, and Fukushima happens. I go ballistic on my YouTube site. I'm all in there. They says, you come Fukushima mad. Look, this is the greatest violation to human rights in human history. Mr. Warps it all. Well, that's saying a lot. So they start, percolating. Shirtwaist fire happens 2 weeks later. I'm all at Fukushima. So in the meantime, they're like, we're going. Just a couple guys go. And it just, they went down there and it got huge, and it got huge fast because it got media coverage. Now, I can get into why it ended up being called Occupy Wall Street, which it was never going to be called Occupy Wall Street. But, that was their cliche they come up with, and I liked it. And they did what they did. And it was pretty powerful shit. But what happened? They went into the old fucking circle the fucking wagons, put your hands together, fucking kumbaya, and let's levitate, hold hands and levitate the White House. Leaderless. What a joke. No fucking movement leaderless will ever do anything. Fucking hand signals. Lower your voice. Talk. They went to the passive-aggressive left thesis. And then the far right went to the scream your head off ignorant fucking thesis. When it's really the pragmatic fucking intense, hardcore fucking radical argument is what it has to be. But it has to be my line. My line I've been using for years. Cordial conversations are dangerous. Passionate, intelligent arguments get results. I mean, you ever read The Argument or any of those books by, who's that guy, Abraham Lincoln? Any of those books by Hamilton, any of those writings about the argument, about the intense fight, it has to be, but it has to be logical, it has to be intelligent, it has to be well-versed, it has to have the journey, it has to pass. So these lunatics that have this argument pass, they don't have it. It's like Jesse Ventura, very good example. Oh, Larry, Larry, he's on Larry King, he just found this out. When they tried to kill Abraham Lincoln, it was a conspiracy. They tried to kill the vice president, secretary. I'm like, did you skip fifth grade? So what these guys do, you got the lunatic right, and it's usually men. They're poorly educated, really poorly. I don't know where they were when they were children, whatever. They're very poorly educated. And then so they feed them the bone, the stick. They feed them the carrot, they find the fucking shiny ball, and okay, they give them a little nugget of common knowledge that is not common knowledge. They prey on the ignorant, and then they covert that. And they use that covert action to steal the energy, one, but bigger, to sell them something. So the revolt started and was brewing. Alex Jones on his 9/11, thesis and whatever, and he did a lot of good work. But what happened? He did just that. He fell for it. Now, was he paid to do it? Is he CI, whatever? Money. And the incentive is money. It's a very simple. You can see the YouTube sites with AdSense accounts. They start out and then they go to the fear porn because that's where people are going to watch because it becomes entertainment. People get turned on by fear porn. That's, ooh, Alienville. Ooh, meteor's going to hit the earth. Earth's going to end. Ooh. It's like scary movies. They like it. So they go there. So what was the thesis? And gold had already made its massive move. Gold made its massive move in 2003. The economy crashed between 2000 and 2006. The dollar went from 75 cents against the euro to $1.65. I was in Manhattan when the euro was introduced. The head of the euro said, we hope one day to have the euro trading equivalent to the dollar. It was trading, it opened at 75 cents against the dollar. Who knew that just a few years later that it would freaking go to $1.60? Even they didn't believe it, so turned New York into a cultural theme park. The Europeans had so much money, so they did what we did to Europe. We turned Europe into a cultural theme park because of a strong dollar, and they went along with it. They played with it, served coffee, go to Italy, go to Milan, freaking buy your freaking Chinese suit, your Italian suit, they turned Europe into a cultural theme park. Well, now they've reversed that. They've turned New York into a cultural theme park. 70 million freaking tourists there this year alone. The dollar crashed in 2003. The gold made its run in 2003. Freaking silver made its run then. And then it got feared up. It was a fear bubble. So then they start pushing it. Max Kaiser starts pushing it. Alex Jones starts pushing it. They start pushing guns. Who's feeding the guns? And then they jack the price of the bullets up. You go to the freaking gunning range, and it turns to become this incredible fear economy. So they're selling you gold at $1,900. They're selling you silver at $45 a freaking ounce. They're screaming and yelling at fiat currency, get out of your stocks, when we know that high dividend yielding stocks, even with these evil, crooked fucking rats, have always been the number one asset in America. They start pushing it. They know that they gutted the manufacturer bases, so the only way you have any economy here to support these freaking oligarchs is through disposable income. Now, where does the disposable income come from? Well, they learned the only disposable income left because they gutted the tax base. There's no working class. Like, there's no tax base. It has to come through property tax. Well, where property tax come from? The inflated housing market. How do you inflate the housing market? By lowering the interest rate to fucking zero and leaving it there forever. What does that do? Cause inflation? Absolutely, which happened in 2003. So we can't show them the real inflation in food. Let's hijack the CPI, PPI, the real inflation in food. So instead of freaking doubling the price, which it did, let's take the container and let's take 16 ounces, drop it to 8 ounces, and charge them. That's 100% inflation right there. And so they did it. They inflate the house. So then we got local municipalities that we can fund the police, the fear, whatever, and just throw money at them, support defense contractors, sell them bullshit, because the property base is where all the money's at. Then we'll keep building these junky-ass houses. We'll change the appraisal fucking system to where the appraisal system is all on square footage. We don't care about quality. We always want quantity. More of it, higher taxes, more revenue, because we have no tax, because there's no working class. They're not paying any taxes. And the wealthy elites, none of them pay any taxes. Corporations don't pay any taxes. The tax rate's 30 or 40%, but they backdoored all those laws. They created loopholes. It's where they can park up their money offshore, multinationals. Do you know Apple has not paid 1 cent in tax? They're the richest company in the history of humanity by many, many, many times. They have hundreds of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions. They're They use slaves in China, and in pure slaves, 100% slavery, worse than the antebellum South ever dreamed to be. I mean, this is hardcore, brutal slavery from hell. I mean, forced labor camps. East Turkey, genociding an entire people. It's against law for them to even have a baby. You know, if anyone gets pregnant, they cut it out and kill it. You know, this is the whole freaking thing that's going on. This is your trade partner. They says, oh, you know, go over there and preach Christianity. Go over there and preach myself. Go over there and be gay. Can cook. How does he get away? They execute people. So you're running down these are the great-great-grandchildren, antebellum slaves playing in the NFL. Their grandmothers would slap them upside their fucking head so fucking hard. Their grandmothers were alive. You got all these NFL players. Their grandpa and grandmas were alive. They would take them to the fucking side and slap them fucking silly. What the fuck are you doing? Do you realize where you come from? Do you realize those hair extensions from executed Chinese prisoners in China? They're executing as many as 240 women a day for as little as getting a marijuana. I mean, just make it up. They export their body parts. Oh, very real. Very real. A huge market. The average freaking executed Chinese prisoners worth $250,000 on the United States market. Let's get a lung transplant. Let's get a heart transplant. Dick Cheney's heart from an executed Chinese female, from what I understand. I mean, this is an evil, evil, sick, the evilest. This fucking blows the Romans away. Fucking no one's fiddling here. There's no fucking music. And this is going to lead me into Banksy. And I could show you the fraud of Banksy. Everybody's, oh, Banksy's all this. Banksy. Oh, so he goes into Syria. Now, Banksy's a girl. And I know this. I think I'm almost positive who it is. I've actually met her. It's a girl and a guy working, it's a sponsored co-op. You know, he started whatever. So he goes to Paris and does his piece on Steve Jobs. Now, I'm all for him. I like his work, you know, that piece, but it's how then it gets spent. Then they put out the talking point. Well, who's putting out the talking point? Again, the billion mass march. Who's putting this talking about? Full-page ad in the New York Times on Saturday. Look it up. Saturday, the full-page New York Times. You know how much a full-page ad costs in the New York Times? Billion. People march. I wonder where they got that idea. Huh, they don't want to buy John Anthony. They don't want to buy me. They don't want to buy anybody. It's like all these bullshit articles coming out about Anonymous. Anonymous is hacking ISIS. Anonymous has lost identity crisis. Anonymous is freaking hacking this person, going after. It's all total bullshit. It's bullshit. You want to know who the real Anonymous is? Why don't you come to have a conversation with me? You don't even know who they are, and you never will. You don't know. It's all bullshit. It's cliche. Because they're not going to do anything, the clichés. You need fucking few fucking strong fucking leaders. Well, what do? They kill the strong leaders. They try. So he does his piece because Steve Jobs, his father, was a Syrian immigrant. And they put it up how great he was. Steve Jobs was one of the evilest, creepiest human beings who ever walked the face of the earth. Steve Chinese Jobs. And this is not my words. Look, I was a semiconductor analyst through the fucking 90s. You know, and so I got to go to those meetings. You know how much fucking money I used to trade a day? A day? I mean, these hedging, doing what I did. I was very good at what I did. I came out of the #1 school, Clyde Cooley. I was his fucking protege. And again, people don't know what the fucking truth is, and they try to dig into it. They don't know shit. They don't know shit about me. I'm a very complex, dynamic person who went a long ways with a lot of things, but leukemia changed everything. I made a lot of money in my life. To wipe me fucking out. Jobs is a fucking creep. Barack Obama, and this is how I can prove Barack Obama's been co-opted. He didn't know what Hanford was. He called Steve Chinese Jobs to the fucking situation, to the White House, excuse me. Says, Steve, what about bringing the jobs back to the United States? What about tariffs? That arrogant fucker said, he wouldn't shake anybody's hand. He says, they fucking left and they're never coming back. The only thing not coming back is Steve Chinese cancer Jobs. One of my doctors was one of his doctors. So he was the biggest prick to ever fucking work with ever. He used to fucking fire teams of doctors daily. He had multiple organ transplants. He had fucking pancreatic cancer. Let's talk about Steve Jobs. I was in the hospital watching the Isaacson bullshit fucking Lion Book interview. It's, you know, oh, he should have had the operation. Bullshit. He lived fucking 5 years with pancreatic cancer. No one does that. It's a fucking anomaly. I mean, it's rare. People can do it, but it's extremely rare. So Steve Chinese Jobs, he stole everything he ever had. He never invented. Was he a visionary? Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, was he a visionary? And Tim Cook just wrote his coattails. But he enslaved this country. He's one of the leaders on he's one of the greatest slave owners in human history. Maybe the greatest slave. Think about that. He divorced the plantation owners. His Syrian prick father, he hated his Syrian prick father. His Syrian prick father was worse than Barack Obama's father. Very similar. Look, both their mothers had daddy issues. Steve Jobs had a fucking mother, had extremely daddy issues. Come on, girls of that era, we know what girls with daddy issues do. You don't think Barack Obama's mother had daddy issues? She was named Stanley. This guy, white guy from Kansas, his only child named her Stanley. Look it up. Barack Obama's mother's official name, Stanley Dunn. He required her to use that name. So, just like Barack Obama's own, all he did was fuck her. Same with Jobs. He fucking abandoned his own kids, just like Johnson abandoned fucking Julian. That's another whole fucking edge that people don't want to talk about. Yoko's one evil person. I don't know. I shouldn't say that about Yoko. But, look, he fucking abandoned his two kids. She had to give them up. Adoption agency. The Syrian prick, he's a no-good motherfucker, the father. So was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs abandoned his own child for long. Just like he did the abuse, become the abusers, right? Just like Sean Hannity. Oh, my father abused the fuck out of me. I was deserved to be hit with a switch on the Adrian Peterson bullshit. Somebody says, for what? What did you do? I don't know, but it must have been something bad. The abuse become the abusers. So, you know who Steve Jobs' sister is? You know who she is? I mean, they didn't get raised together because they were separated in foster care. Yeah, that's her. The writer. You see her, any of them talk about Fukushima, whatever. I mean, I like her, but come on. So she tracks down the biological father. She finds him. He's got a coffee shop in Sacramento. Still there. She goes and visits him. Introduces herself. Oh, my God. She says, I wish you would have known me when I was somebody. He says to her, she doesn't let the cat out of the bag that Steve Jobs is his son. He has no clue. He says, look, when I was somebody, I used to have a fucking restaurant in the valley. Everybody used to come in my restaurant. Anybody who was anybody. Steve Jobs used to come into my restaurant every Friday, and he and I would talk for hours. Steve Jobs himself, and she just went, oh, my God. She didn't let the cat out of the bag. She goes back. She's reconnected with Steve. She's told him, look, this is your dad. By the way, his first job was a guy from right here in Clearfield, Utah. Look it up, the guy that invented Atari, the guy that started Chuck E. Cheese, the guy that I graduated from Weber State with, the guy that runs the Chuck E. Cheese thesis. We graduated together. He runs that whole fucking rip-off fucking Fever show. Yeah, look him up. Look him up. Yeah, he's native right here. He says, when I hired Steve when he was 18 years old, I had to make him work nights because he was that big of a prick and everyone hated his guts. Talk to the financial writers. Talk to fucking the semiconductor analysts. Talk to anybody. Biggest prick that ever walked. So, she tells him who her real father is. He's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I used to talk to that guy all the fucking time. What, do you want to meet him? Fuck no. Fuck him. I hate that fucker. Rightfully so. Fuck him. That was his words to his sister. Well, rightfully so. Steve Jobs' father was one of the biggest creeps that ever was. So Banksy fucking sensationalizes it. And I don't think Banksy sensationalized. I think it's who's running Banksy. Banksy has a platform. He has one right here in Park City. They put a glass thing. It's very cliche, and I can tell you why the art is fucking totally unimportant. He's done good work. The stuff he's done at Disneyland, whatever, but it's co-op. And I'll tell you what, she is co-opted. Where did I meet this person? In Washington, D.C. I'll have to tell I'll write a book about it one time. In the middle of the night. Wow. Because I'm fucking kicked out. I'm fucking sick. I'm whatever I mean. I'm like, wow, look at this. There's a guy making there's a group. What are you guys doing? Oh, come here. Wow. So, they put up a talking point. Oh, really? Now, I was on the train, and I was in Budapest. We created this whole situation, us as American baby bombers. We want to fucking bomb somebody as long as we don't bleed. It's like the peace movement. Everybody, all these hairspray, gung-ho, Ted Nugent pieces of dog shit. My gun totters, these Republican and Democratic fucking war heroes who never bled. They never bled. They draft dodged. Ted Nugent, draft dodger for pissing and shitting himself. Says, I would have killed a lot of people. What a fucking fucking pussy. It's one of the greatest cowards that ever walked, that piece of dog shit. I mean, Roseanne Barr, he started shaking, almost crying when she got in his end. That's a girl. Let him get in my face. I'll make that fucker go back to his mama's fucking basement, put his fucking lipstick in his. That's what he does. You know, just like in Boston. Oh, we're going to get our guns out. You're in the client. Yeah. Did you crawl under your mama's fucking thing? You know, go and killing an innocent person. You really want to kill somebody? Go talk to somebody from Vietnam. Go talk to somebody from Korea. Go talk to somebody from fucking Iraq. Go talk about killing another human being. Even if he's trying to take your shit. You really want to do that? Oh, I'm telling you, you're going to be on medicated for the rest of your life. That'll rattle the fucking human psychic to no end. You know, call the cops. Somebody's fucking, you got a problem, whatever. So they sensationalize the creeps. I mean, Yoko, think about it, the most hated person in the fucking world, the Japanese bankster's fucking daughter, the nuclear island's fucking bankster's daughter, which was the most hated person in the world. And it's unarguable. In the 1970s, Yoko Ono was the most hated person on the face of the earth, bar none. She broke up the Beatles, right? Everyone. I mean, there was no one more hated than her. No one even close. She's the darling of New York City right now. She's on every billboard. She's everywhere because they have no art. Because, look, I tell everybody like this with my YouTube site, media. When I talk to media now, I'm like, what are you talking to me for? You should be asking me for an interview. You wouldn't let me have the platform. You're not the media, so I'm the media. You wouldn't give me the platform, so I became the media. The museum, you should be asking me to display your art, the artist, because you wouldn't let me in the museum, so I became the museum. You wouldn't show me the road to survival. You wouldn't show me the fucking cure, so I became the cure. What I've been able to do on this YouTube site and freaking the greatest issue of human history and become the spear from day one with no fucking money, in critical fucking condition, with no help, without even owning a computer in a public library. It's one of the most incredible stories in human fucking history, and there's nothing arrogant about it. It's documenting the fucking path and the truth of the reality in history. The greatest event in human history is 3/11/11. The greatest cover-up, it's not conspiratorial, by the way. It's right in your face. There's no conspiracy about it. Look, it blew up, came over, was reported. It's fucking coming all over us. So RadNet, the Radio Tech Network, they took down RadNet. They raised the legal limits 4 separate times, many thousands of times, on drinking water, on food, whatever. Widely reported. They widely reported they're dumping in the Pacific Ocean the whole time. Now, I'm the first one to report that on my intuitive, but then it was all backed up. You know, the KLK study by Ken Bueller shows 1,000 times radio backgrounds. They caught a fish off the, coast of Fukushima, 1,000 miles out, with 16,000 times the becquerels. Widely reported, all widely reported. America can't handle the truth. They don't want the truth because it doesn't meet their dogma snuggies. When I say dogma snuggies, that's exactly what dogma is, a hardcore, evil sickness. When you're told the truth, you will double down on a dogma. That's a fucking generational, immature, ignorant IQ, fucking self-indulged fucking sickness. Fox News knows that. Carl knew that. So the evil of the evil, it's okay, fuck the media. They got it. We know that. So now we have ABC today, this morning. ABC puts out a year-old article. This interview is well over a year old, about the head of the Fukushima cleanup, an AP article. Why would ABC possibly put that? He says in the article, there's no playbook, this is a disaster, it's a war zone, it's been a war zone the whole time. Why would they put that out now? Because they're afraid. They know the cracks in the dike. They know that the FOIA documents, which have been out there the whole time. Shane Russell poured them all out. Shane Russell gave them all to you on a silver fucking platter. He gave everybody the FOIA documents on a silver platter. Jan Brooks and Patrick Henry, freaking, that idiot. But it was Jan and Shane that did all the work on the freaking FOIA documents. They put it all, they're all out there. They've been out there the whole time. We presented them. YouTube bloggers put them out there. But see, it's a different crowd now. Because you were postured and groomed, the average American was postured and groomed into thinking that radiation is science fiction. It's alien bills, and the YouTube bloggers, they knew that. They paid this Chris Brand, they paid these dots, they paid this Edelman, they paid these guys. Okay, we want you to talk about it. We'll give you money to play in place. Then you spin it into aliens, meteors hitting the earth, anything science fiction to make you look crazy. Because that was the strategy after Chernobyl. The strategy was to make anybody who talks about the reality of nuclear fallout and radiation giving you cancer and killing you, the strategy, because this is the biggest cash cow in human history because of Price Anderson, because of the IEA. They have all the money. I mean, it's the biggest cash cow. It makes bankers look like church mice. By the way, if you look up who owns the nuclear reactors, they deregged it all. The same people that the banksters own the nuclear reactors. Believe it or not, you know who one of the biggest owners of San Onofre, Diablo Canyon are? Yeah, Bill Gates. Yeah, Jamie Dimon. The same players. They're not public utilities. They boil the Earth's water over and they're depleting and crushing the environment. The global warming is nuclear reactors. Do you know what the temperature of the freaking steam coming out of those reactors is? Do you have any idea what the temperature of that is? 410, and it's nonstop, 24/7. See how hot it is? They take the worst oil, boil it over and over and over, then release the water back at 20, 30 degrees hotter. I mean, these are that temperature is so fucking hot. That is global warming. The fucking release of Fukushima gamma rays in the Pacific Ocean is genocide of the Pacific Ocean, which I hypothesize that. You know, the greatest PhD ever. You know, I hypothesize all that. I've been all over this. You know, you can talk about whatever then. I mean, that's the beauty of YouTube. Visual proof. Undocumented. And I've done it without them. I've had some few people that come along the way and help me, you know, financially with small money. But let's get real about my fucking travels. If it wasn't for me able to stay with people I've met along the way, YouTube blindly, you wouldn't believe some of this. And I've stayed in some bad places. You know, the Nader house almost killed me. I've been teed up. I've been set up. I got set up in Canada. I mean, I got set up in Germany. Very scary. I'm in a foreign land with that was very scary what happened to me in Germany. Very scary what happened to me. I mean, do not kid yourself. The other side does not play fair. I got teed up in Geneva, Switzerland. Very scary. Very scary. I was so afraid. You can ask for when I got back to I don't know how I snuck out of there, and I don't know how I got back to Vienna. I was so afraid when I got back in Vienna. I was a wreck. I was tired. I hadn't had any sleeping days. I was fucking broke. I was fucking scared. I didn't think I was even going to be able to get out of the fucking country. I was fucking trying. I mean, these fuckers came at me. I mean, teed me up. I mean, I'm fucking broke. I'm in a foreign fucking land. I got no protection. I don't know anybody. You know, in California, same way. Walking up the fucking one. I mean, sleeping outside, sleeping on park benches, fucking sleeping in the sleaziest hotels, cheapest fucking dumps I can fucking find. You know, walking, hitchhiking, relying on people for a ride that I don't even fucking know. Well, what a journey. You know, I was at the Energy Solutions website in a physical confrontation where the fucking cop smacks my arm, puts a gun in my face in the fucking dark of night. Just me. So fucking scary. I mean, I don't know how I've fucking done it. I look back on it. I was thinking about it this morning. Wow. Greenpeace draws how many billions of dollars. You know how much fucking money Greenpeace raises a day? They did nothing off Fukushima. I mean, how more grassroots can this be? So she put the full-page ad. We want to support them. Very anarchist thesis that goes into it. I'm not against anarchists. I'm not against capitalists. I'm not against socialists. I'm against the whole fucking still in this story with the gun. I'm very much against that because it's taken all the energy away because the guns are not the answer. The gun's the opposite of the answer. Who's selling you the gun? He's saying you can't use a gun. I mean, you can own them all you want. You can do, you know, get the bigger ones, the bigger clips, whatever, but you can't use them. It's called brandishing, and that's across the board. Most of the people that are shot that have a gun, whatever, their children have the accident or whatever thing. Look, these cops know that. When the call comes in domestic violence or comes in any situation, the first question the dispatcher asks is there a gun involved? Yeah, he's got a gun in the house. Is there any gun? Yeah. They don't fuck around. They call the SWAT team out, and they're loaded for bear. And they don't care what your dogma. They don't care about what your political thesis is. They don't care if you're black, white, freaking red. I mean, well, I guess they do care if you're black. You know, Black Lives Matter is a very real, which I've been heavily involved in that. But let's remember, in Utah, the capital right here, and only one of them was black. This is happening because this is a freaking cultural dynamic of repression. And the courts protect them. The cops, you know, it's not bad cops. There's bad cops. Oh, don't get me wrong. But they're the bad apple in the bunch is spoiling the whole crew. And the police, per se, are not cleaning it up because the courts won't allow them to. The courts are blocking it from going in. The prosecutors, because talk about an incentive. You're not going to get elected. The prosecutor knows he goes after there because America is the fear economy. Fox News, run right out of the House of Windsor, is the fucking most evil. Fox News is the most terroristic organization in the history of mankind. CNN's close second. It's a proven, unarguable, documented fact. Run right out of the House of Windsor. Murdoch is the royals. They hate everything about America. They want it all back. They've been battling over this freaking continent and its vast natural resource for 1,000 years. They got it all back. Who owns the fuck? I live right here next to Kennecon's fucking copper mine, the biggest in the world, second biggest gold producer on Earth. The Queen owns it. She owns all the gold. These oligarchs, they want the gold standard. Oh yeah, they're gonna push gold. When you're buying it at 1,700, you're buying it at 1,800. Who's selling? You're buying high. They're selling high. They're buying low. You're selling low. They got you. Silver, Max Kaiser's still pushing silver. I mean, come on, Max. 47. What is it? 14. That's a bloodbath. When the high dividend yield stocks, when they, Glenn Beckstone, you get out at 6,500. You remember that guy in CNBC that was with Aaron Burnett? And look at her. I mean, God, what a freaking CIA rat she's turned into. Anderson Cooper. None of them will break ranks. None of them. Because they think they're on the winning team. Their money trumps their health. I'm here to tell you, money don't mean shit when it comes to your health. You're in that bone marrow transplant center, clinging on and fighting your life. You're not going to have dreams about money or girls. I had dreams about food and water and my grandchildren. That's what's the priority. If being in a bone marrow transplant, freaking given 2 months to live, going in and out of a coma, given no chance to live, does not get your priorities straight. I don't know what's going to, and which it doesn't. I see plenty of people that go in there, that they come out, even if they do get started, and they don't change their lifestyle, they don't change their priorities, because they are that hypnotized and they are that grown by that box. These people are evil. Fox News and these people in the hairspray, and everybody that believes anything they say and goes along with them are so pathetic, it's unbelievable. They're so anti-America. They're so anti-United States of America. United States was fundamentally, always has been anti-royal. It was the great abolition, anti-royal. Give us you're hungry, you're tired, you're weak, you're fucking bored. A bunch of socialists like Jesus. Somebody says Jesus is an anarchist. Really? Jesus was no anarchist. He was a socialist, a radical. Feed the hungry. Heal the afflicted. Somebody says, oh, you say fucking. This whole thesis that fucking the Jesus in. Let's see about that radical. When he was throwing the fucking money changers out of the temple, oh, that's free market. That's Ayn Rand, who was an atheist. Don't you love it how the fucking far right, they claim they're Christians and then they quote in their economic thesis a fucking devout, hardcore fucking atheist from Leningrad, Russia, science fiction writer named Ayn Rand. Who was on public assistance for years. They're frauds. Yet, how can the ignorant populace buy on that? How can they possibly, because they preyed on ignorance, gutted the education system. It took a long time. Ray Gunn and his handlers, mission accomplished. They pulled it off. They gutted all the protections. Bill Walmart Clinton, you thought was the next John Kennedy, who ended up being a hard right House of Windsor. He's a Rhodes Scholar. Do you know anything about Rhodes? Rhodesia? Yeah, that's him. That's who Bill Scholar. Oh, he was just this hillbilly kid from Arkansas out of nowhere. Bullshit. CIA is a kid. How do you think he's connected to Hillary? The Yale connection. How's Hillary connected? Her father, Rodham, Walker. It all traces right to the House of Windsor. They got it all back. I mean, how did Yoko possibly know Hillary? Yoko's saying that her and Hillary had a sexual fling. Now, you think about it. I want you to visualize Yoko Ono and Hillary Clinton having sex in your head right now. Now, I'm going to do a gig. I want to start a fucking whole thing and call it the anti-porn, because we have a major porn addiction in this country. So the porn addiction, that's the Mormons say it's their number one priority. Well, fuck, I guess you repress the not common sexuality. Sexuality is fucking, that's the common denominator. Why would you repress people's sexuality and nudity? You're born naked. Why would you repress that? And you create this. And so of course they want to look at naked people having sex. So I'm going to call it the anti-porn for porn addictions. Yoko and Hillary, which they say they had an affair together. Well, how do they get connected? Most famous person? Now you see. Stan Tuner will continue this conversation on Thursday. Got a lot of work to do. Freaking on the island. I call it on the fucking nuclear island I'm on.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical.